welcome to episode 10 of So Many Screens, a pop culture podcast brought to you by Wash Media. I'm your host, J.R. Hickey, coming to you from Palm Springs, California, and dialing in from the East Coast. As always, she's one step closer to becoming a video blogger. KatPat, how are we doing this lovely Sunday evening?
Oh, I'm good. I was making a TikTok earlier today, so look out for that.
Were you using your new ring light that we just purchased?
The ring light does make an appearance. Yes, it does.
I think I just need you to tell me about your TikToks because I can't bring myself to create a TikTok account. I can't bring myself to follow people on TikTok. There's just too much content out there for me. There's so many screens. I can't keep up.
I made one the other day of my brother and it got like 1,500 views like almost immediately, which is weird because that's my most viewed and liked TikTok. So I don't know what the fuck happened with the algorithm there. It wasn't that good. So I don't know.
My good friend's sister lives in Washington, D.C., and she has a daughter who's like TikTok famous. And she was texting me about her and was like, this is like a lot for me to handle. What do I do? And I was like, you are coming to the wrong person because I do not know what you should do.
What's her name? What's
I don't know. I will look her up. I bet I could right now. And I just don't want to, I don't want to read it out. I don't want to air it out. And like, I don't know. It all feels very weird to me, to be honest with you. But she explained to me like how it's weird now that the dynamic of her friend group has changed and stuff.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, they're all probably trying to get some of that clout. Is she over 18?
No. She's, I think, middle school. Yeah.
Oh, see, that's where
I feel even weird talking about it right now. I don't want to yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll zip our lips.
Yep. I'll try to find it and send it to you after the fact.
I'm very curious.
Guys, thank you so much. We've been getting some incredible 5-star reviews. We've got some incredible questions we're going to answer on this week's episode. Everyone's been really complimentary about the show. And I mean, I just can't express my gratitude enough. Big shout out to Ricky Prosper, who has our new background here in our little screens, which is super fucking cool.
I know. It's so cute. Yeah. Shout out to Ricky. I also bought a little print from him. It's like a little, what is it? I'm going to butcher this. It's some sort of sneaker with a cactus in it.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's hanging up by my plant table.
Content producers supporting content producers. Good to see. Yeah, we decided to throw one out there to the listeners. Have some pop culture questions we can answer, maybe some personal questions, just some fun questions. We got like 12 we're going to get through today. A little bit of a different episode. As we mentioned last week, we have a ton coming up in September. The Emmys is in 2 weeks. The Boys season 2 is back next week, which I can't wait to talk about. Spooky season is coming up at the end of the month. So a ton on the docket. So let's just ease into it with some fun questions. Before we do that, though, we do have to talk about the untimely death of Chadwick Boseman. This came as an absolute shocker on Friday night, didn't it, Kate?
Yes, I was watching TV with my boyfriend. All of a sudden, I checked Twitter, and I'm like, "Holy fuck!" I mean, no one knew, correct?
No one knew. Quietly was diagnosed in 2016, stage 3 colon cancer, which is icky to say the least. It progressed to stage 4 this year, or a little bit before this year. He never spoke publicly about it ever. During treatment, multiple chemo rounds, surgeries, he continued to work and he completed production on several films, including Marshall, Da 5 Bloods, Black Bottom, as well as some Marvel content. He died at his home as a result of complications related to the cancer just on Friday, August 28th, 2020, with his wife and his family by his side. I don't have like super strong feelings about Chadwick Boseman, the actor, but when you see someone so young, 40 years of age, who's been in the public eye for such a short period of time, you just feel like he and we got gypped. His career was just starting. He was literally on the ascension, not only with Black Panther and the Marvel movies, but he was doing these really great period pieces. Marshall did the James Brown movie back in 2014. It felt like the beginning of something great and just an absolute tragedy.
I know. And Black Panther was actually the first Marvel movie I had ever seen, and that was the one that got me really into the whole series. And it's just so sad because I don't know, throughout history, you really don't see like a black superhero for young black kids to look up to. And I don't know if you follow Brad from the other podcast, Internet Party, but he was saying his younger nephews like are obsessed with Black Panther. They have Black Panther everything. He's their hero. And he was like, the fact that someone has to explain to them like that the actor passed away just breaks my heart. And that was really upsetting.
Yeah. Especially in 2020 when a lot has to be explained to young children right now. I'll leave it at that. Yeah. Earlier this year, fans of Boseman had expressed concern. He's been losing a lot of weight in videos he'd been posting. On August 29th, just a day after he passed away, just on Saturday, the final tweet from his account announcing his death became the most liked tweet ever. Had over 6 million likes on Twitter. I know that means nothing, but it's just worth saying that this struck a chord for everybody. And he'll be missed. So RIP for sure.
Yeah. And, I just want to say, I think a lot of people were commenting about how he looked towards the end of his sickness, and people were commenting on how thin he got and honestly just like making fun of him on Twitter. So I just want to say it's gross. You honestly never know what someone is going through. So just don't fucking say anything. Like, I don't know. And another thing on top of that, like, I don't want to get all preachy, but he did have colon cancer. And I just want to say, go to the doctor if you don't feel great. Like, I'm not a medical professional, people. I know you know that, but know your body, go to the doctor, get checked, like stay up to date with all that stuff. I know it's embarrassing. People don't want to talk about it, but that's how you catch these things early. And it's really unfortunate what happened, but just know your body, take care of yourself.
Yeah, 100%. I have had cancer affect my family pretty recently. My younger sister was diagnosed with stage 2 Hodgkin's lymphoma. I think Hodgkin's or non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. When she was 20 years old, she had to take a year off of school, and it's made a big impact on us as a family. She's in full recovery now. She's full remission, and thank God she got through it. But I remember her saying to me, she was at my apartment in Chicago. She was 20, I was 23, and she was like, I just don't feel good. Luckily, she went in and got checked. They caught it early, and she's no worse for the wear. But I can't emphasize what you just said enough. Take care of your body. Get your shit checked out, even if that shit's uncomfortable or awkward. It could save your life.
Yes. Well, God bless. I'm glad she's okay.
Yeah. I don't know how to transition to listener questions. I'm sorry. No. I consider myself a professional, but I don't know how to be like. And on another note, the listeners came out strong. A lot of great submissions. I hope we can get to all of them. I made an answer sheet, and I told you not to look at it. Did you look at it?
No, I didn't. I did the same thing.
Yes, I didn't look at yours. Great. Because I think there's a tendency to, if we cheat a little bit and look at what each other answers, then we kind of like start to base our answers around what the other person answers. And so I'll read off the first one. Maybe we can kind of like ping pong back and forth, see how long this takes. I'm going to shout out some ats as well. I hope people don't mind. I didn't really ask if we could do that, but I think people love a little free press. This first question, I thought this was a great light question to start us off with. From Sam at Sam Z Patterson. What is your go-to movie snack? And as a follow-up, how do you feel about eating while watching TV or movies in general? Kate, why don't you start us off with this one?
Okay. To be honest, I normally never get snacks at the movies. I don't know. I normally get like a bottle of water because I always need to have water by me. I'm a freak. But if I do get a snack, big popcorn fan. I love movie theater popcorn. I've considered like going to the movies, just getting a popcorn and leaving. Like, I don't know if that's really weird, but yeah. So that and cookie dough bites. But other than that, those shits slap. I love those. I honestly though, like I never get snacks at the movies. Like once a year. Yeah.
How often would you say? I mean, obviously before all this, how often did you say you and your boyfriend would go to the movies?
Actually, really not that often. Like maybe like once every few months, once a quarter. Yeah.
I would say, and this probably comes as no surprise, I would say my wife and I, we go probably 2 or 3 times a month. I'm a big movie geek. My wife worked at Sony Pictures on the movie studio back in the day. So we both kind of had this affinity and love for movies. And so it was like a regular date night for us. I was like an AMC Stubs member. I just bought into the whole fucking like circus of it all. Overpaid for everything. Would get candy. Would get a soda. Would get I don't know. It was something kind of like kitschy about it. That's the word I was trying to say. So I was always a big like watermelon Sour Patch Kids guy.
Ooh.
Not the actual kids, the watermelons, like the little watermelon slices.
Yeah, those are so good.
Because you could this is insane that I'm trying to describe this, but you could like suck them like in you could like sit them on your tongue and suck all the sugar off and then just chew the like gummy part. And
those
probably
are good.
The only time I would ever get like a fountain drink is at the movie theaters, like a big cold cherry Coke or even a Sprite if you're in like the mood for that. For some reason, it just hit differently at the movie theater with a big picture in front of you that's like 10 stories high.
That's true. See, I do love the experience of going to the movies. I wish I did it more often. I feel like we just never go. Like, if there's a movie I really want to see and I know it's going to get spoiled, I'll go to see it in the theater. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do indeed miss the whole experience. That's for sure.
So now that this is a good like deviation from that, now that we're all at home watching movies on our couch, you're eating in front of movies and TV now. At least I am. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
It's
I
like
for
the
sure
Wild
am.
West.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like every time I go to sit down and watch something, like I can't do it without food in front of me. It's bad.
Yeah, we do the same. Do you have any like sneaky underrated like home snacks that you like to eat in front of the movies or TV?
See, I'm more of like, I'll just eat my regular snack. I don't have a specific movie snack. One thing I like is mochi, like the ice cream.
Oh yeah.
But that's like 3 bites, then you're done. So it doesn't last very long. What else do I snack on? I don't know. Like nothing special.
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys pop popcorn? I feel like I never do that.
We have started popping popcorn on the stovetop, like in the kettle. That's chef's kiss. That's good stuff. Because then you can kind of like regulate your salt and your butter. You can kind of make, sometimes she'll sprinkle some cinnamon, or if we're feeling crazy, maybe throw in some like M&Ms or something like that. Once it's off the stove and like it's melting in the bowl. I mean, Mrs. JR and I, we go hard with our snacks, as you can tell. Sneaky underrated for me
boring.
is, do you ever have those like pretzel thins? They're not pretzels. They're like the thin crackers that are made of pretzel. There's the the everything flavored, which has like all the garlic and the pepper and the salt and stuff. Bad of those with like some hummus or some sort of dip is just home run out of this park good. And highly recommend.
It's a good call. That's a good call.
It's like almost dinner time here on the West Coast, and I'm already fucking starving talking about this stuff.
Yeah, I never had dinner, but I will. I was going to say too, like being gluten-free like really limits the snacky items I can have.
I did not know you were gluten-free.
That sucks.
Did you hear me?
Yeah, I got diagnosed with celiac disease. It's a little delayed. Can you hear me?
Yeah. No, I'm also reacting to celiac disease. I didn't know this about you. This is something that your podcast co-host should know.
Oh. Well, I got diagnosed in 2016. No, not 2016. Sorry. I don't know what the fuck just happened. I got diagnosed in October. And actually, not to like relate back to our previous very heavy conversation, but I was very sick and had an endoscopy.
Yep.
Thank God it was just celiac, but So, I've been gluten-free for almost a year.
Good. And it's like had a marked effect. You just can't drink can't drink beer anymore, or you can do a gluten-free beer and you can't have sandwiches.
Yeah, and the thing is now I get drunk way quicker because my intestines were previously all like fucked up. Yep. So alcohol wouldn't absorb as easily. But now I'm like, I have 2 seltzers and I'm out.
Let's go. That's great.
It's bad. It's really bad.
Didn't think this would turn into your endoscopy from the fall, but hey.
Good times.
So many screens. Next question. Oh, I don't know who asked this one. Oh, wait, actually, Sam asked the same one. This we can answer quickly. This is also from Sam Z. Patterson. What's your favorite movie soundtrack? We did talk about this in our movie soundtrack episode. I think that was episode 6 or 7 of the pod. Mine's pretty easy. I've probably brought up this movie 7 times at this point. High Fidelity, the 2000 movie starring John Cusack. That soundtrack slaps. The Kinks, Velvet Underground, Bob Dylan, Elvis Costello, Stevie Wonder. Listen to it, folks. What's yours?
I just put Guardians.
Yeah.
I like both of them.
Yeah.
We covered this, but yeah, simple, classic rock, you know.
The best.
Yes.
Do you want to read the next question?
Sure. Okay. What's the current... Oh, this one is from @Elgrin Hunter.
Yep.
Thank you, Elgrin. What's the current standing in the Great Hollywood Chris-Off, which is Chris Pratt, Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, and Chris Pine? I like this question.
I love this question. Who wants to go, please? I actually want to hear your answer first, because I, as you can imagine, did a ton of research.
Yeah. Well, I love Chris Pratt, but I put Evans and Hemsworth. I couldn't decide. I like both of them. They're both in the Avengers. I mean, I don't know. I can't decide. They're both very attractive human beings.
Okay. So I did some research. I looked at filmography, IMDb, personal life, net worth I took into account.
Oh.
Here's my ranking from last to first. Chris Pine comes in 4th place.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Star Trek, Hell or High Water. He's now co-star of Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 1984, which comes out early next year. He had a nice little run of Wet Hot American Summer, which I know you're a huge fan of, Kate.
Mm-hmm.
Net worth of $30 million. And as far as I can tell in his personal life, the only thing that's going on is that he's pulling off some incredible quarantine fits. Have you been seeing these?
No.
Just Google either now or when we're done, Chris Pine quarantine fits. And it's just like him walking around Hollywood with like sick short shorts, a mask, these like bowling shirts. You're just like, man, I want to party with that guy. And it's just him like going to his mailbox, running a quick errand. So I think he's probably coming in 4th. Chris Pratt comes in 3rd. Chris Pratt, who just had a baby with Katherine Schwarzenegger, the daughter of Arnold Schwarzenegger. So Chris Pratt's kind of set himself up for success there, but he didn't need any help. He's starred in the Jurassic Worlds, the Guardians movies, obviously the Avengers movies, Lego movies, Parks and Rec, etc. He's got another Jurassic World and another Guardians movie, both in post-production, that will be coming out. So who knows, maybe in another year, Chris Pratt will have moved up 2 spaces. His net worth is $40 million.
Huh. I thought it would be more.
Same. Chris Evans, who pretty much only was Captain America for most of his career. I loved him in Not Another Teen Movie. Snowpiercer is a really good, intense movie from 2013. But really just kind of stayed in that Marvel lane. I think the most breakout thing he did was he was in Knives Out. Did you watch Knives Out?
Oh, yes. I forgot he was in that. I love that movie.
He wore an incredible cable knit sweater that like everyone was talking about in that movie. But he is like pretty quiet on the personal life front, but is somehow worth twice as much as Chris Pratt, which is crazy to me because Chris Pratt's done many more movies, many more like franchises, but somehow maybe Chris Evans just is a better businessman or his people are better business people. So he comes in 2nd, which leaves the winner of the Chris-Off currently, as of August 30th, 2020, Chris Hemsworth. Not only is he, in my opinion, my heterosexual opinion, the most attractive of these 4 men, not only does he seem to have the best sense of humor about himself, like I think Chris Pratt is funnier, but Hemsworth seems to know, like, listen, I'm kind of like a big, hunky, like Australian, and I know how to like play off that fact. It looks like he's going to be the face of the new generation of Marvel movies. We've got no more Robert Downey Jr. We've got no more Chris Evans. So Hemsworth looks to be like the like guy. Apparently, this new Guardians movie that's in post-production is Thor teaming up with the Guardians of the Galaxy. And
oh,
we've talked about Thor Ragnarok and how that was such like a refreshing, fun, like colorful departure from some of the other Guardians movies. So I'm excited for that. He was in a couple of great Netflix original movies, Extraction, 12 Strong. He was in the Ghostbusters movie, Bad Times at the El Royale. He's kind of like dipping his toes in all these different genres. But this is what puts him at number one to me, Tate. His net worth is $131 million. Triple what Chris Pratt and Chris Pine's net worth is. Do you know why that is?
No.
Do you follow him on social media?
No.
Well, you should start, because his social media accounts combined are worth almost $50 million. His social media accounts are worth more than Chris Pratt and Chris Pine's net worth. How fucking crazy is that?
Does he do ads?
I think so. I don't even really follow him that close. I just was reading an article about this and was like, damn, this dude's like, yeah, I know. I want to look him up right now.
See, I don't like follow a lot of actors and actresses on Instagram. I follow a lot of like Instagram comedians, you would say.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally get that. Okay, I'm sorry. His Instagram has 44 million followers. Like, absolutely, this dude is making money off of this thing. Jesus
I hope so.
Fucking Christ.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and he's got a link in his bio for an at-home fitness regime that he like trains you. Yeah, this is it. Like, this is where
I forgot he had. Yes, I forgot he had the fitness app.
Center is what it's called. So yeah,
I always got ads for that, like every fucking day. And on TikTok, he did TikTok ads for this. Okay, this now makes a lot of sense.
Hemsworth is like embracing the technology of 2020, where I think the other guys are doing the movie star thing and just hanging back. And so I gotta give it to Hemsworth, I guess. I mean, that's based off of nothing besides a couple minutes of Googling, but tons of fun.
True. Should we do the next one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bryce asks, at Bryce McPhail, please discuss why The Big Short is the best movie of the past decade. Kate, I hesitate to ask, have you seen The Big Short?
Well, it's funny you ask, because once upon a time, little Kate went to the movies on a first date with this boy in 2016. Oh. And that boy is now my roommate.
That's great. Nice. That was the first date, was The Big Short.
Well, it's like the first date. Like, we had met, got drinks, and this was like, oh, a date. Which is weird, because I don't really like movie dates, because you can't talk. Yeah. And I can't shut the fuck up, so. But actually, it's so funny, because Wayne says during that movie, I was so stiff in my chair. Just like, and like, wouldn't look at him, like, so awkward. Which is definitely true, because I'm not, I don't know. When I think of movie dates, I think of middle schoolers, like, getting their first kiss at the movies. So, but the movie itself, I really liked. I haven't seen it since that day, though. But I remember I really liked the movie, and great film.
I did a recent rewatch, and it holds up so fucking well, because it's about the financial crisis and how it was triggered by the housing bubble in 2007, 2008, which all of that stuff is super relevant 12 years later. Like, it all kind of, the economy is kind of in a tough spot, and, real estate's going up outside of big city, but people are fleeing the major markets, as I did from San Francisco. What I really liked about this movie, Adam McKay wrote and directed. Adam McKay is one half of the comedy duo. He was Will Ferrell's creative partner for decades. They both created funnyordie.com. They both wrote and starred in movies like The Other Guys, which is a super underrated comedy movie. What I liked about this movie was he took a very serious, very depressing subject and made it kind of interesting and very fun. He has those little asides during the movie. You probably don't remember this, but it's like the most famous part of The Big Short is like when they start talking about concepts such as like subprime mortgages and collateralized debt obligations, they all of a sudden are like, Here's Margot Robbie in a bathtub to explain this to you.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Here's
Wow,
Selena
I forgot about
Gomez
this.
like at a craps table explaining to you how like subprime mortgages worked, and it just made things like very wink and nod and like, hey, we get that this is hard for you to understand, so we'll try to dumb it down as much as possible, but you're just here for the ride. The movie crushed. It made $133 million on a $50 million budget. It won an Academy Award for Best Adapted Screenplay. It was nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor, and Best Film Editing.
Was Steve Carell the guy in the movie who was like, the housing market's gonna burst? And he was
that
like,
was Christian Bale.
Like no one was. Oh wait, okay. I remember he was like crazy in his little office.
Yeah, so the book that The Big Short is based off of, The Doomsday Machine by Michael Lewis, the Michael Lewis character is played by Christian Bale in the movie. He has a glass eye, and he like plays loud heavy metal music while he works, and he only wears socks around the office. So he's like kind of an eccentric dude, and the entire movie, you know, people are doubting this prediction. At the end of it, he basically saves all of his clients. He's a financial manager, all of his clients' money, and returns it to them like at 200% or something like that.
I need to rewatch this because this has an amazing cast.
Yep.
It's and Kendall Roy.
I was going to say, your boy, Jeremy Strong is like one of Gosling's guys. Gosling plays like a guy who works out of one of the big four financial shops, and like Jeremy Strong's like his analyst. It's really great cast. Christian Bale, Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, Brad Pitt. I mean, Brad Pitt, born to be a character actor in a leading man's body. Really awesome movie. I agree with Bryce. It's one of, if not the best movies of the past decade.
Yeah, this is one I need to rewatch ASAP because it is such a good movie.
Highly recommend it because there's a lot you probably missed, and it's very rewatchable and very relevant.
Yes, and just like nostalgic for me. Okay, I'll read the next one. Yeah. This is from Caroline C. Sorry, I can't talk. Caroline C. Winchester 2.
Shout out to all the female listeners.
Yeah, shout out to the mommies. # mommy gang. Thoughts on the re-release of No Ceilings? Senior year me is thriving. So, have you listened to Lil Wayne's No Ceilings?
I have. First, I want to ask you, what is KatPat's relationship with Lil Wayne like?
Definitely the soundtrack to high school dances, college frat parties. I actually have a playlist on Spotify called Grinding in a Basement. And it's just like all the songs that played at, you know, basement frat parties from college. And there's a lot of Lil Wayne. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I just think of, this is so off topic, but I went to this one party and there was a male stripper there, and he like kicked in the door and Fireman was playing. I was like, just like doing this dance, and I was so uncomfortable. But yeah, that's what I think of when I think of Lil Wayne.
So when No Ceilings dropped in 2009, it was only able to be downloaded on DatPiff. Do you remember that website? DatPiff? No. It was like where you would get like leaks, essentially. And a lot of people have been pointing out over this past weekend, Wayne dropped this album, or re-released this album, I'm sorry, on Friday. We're recording this on Sunday. That a lot of the songs from that original drop in 2009 are either missing or have been renamed. And so when I looked at the No Ceilings like mixtape on Spotify, I was like, this doesn't look like an album that I recognized listening to back then. And it's because some of the most famous songs like Run This Town, Ice Cream Paint Job, and Sweet Dreams aren't on it. And like, I know Run This Town very well. I know Ice Cream Paint Job really well. I think it's because all of those use samples from like Jay-Z and Rihanna. And like, they probably couldn't get clearance on that shit in time to release this on Friday. But to me, it doesn't feel like a re-release for that reason. It just feels like Lil Wayne took some tracks from an album from 11 years ago and repackaged them and put them out. Yeah, I have a close relationship with Wheezy F Baby as well. I was always more of like the Carter 2 and the Carter 3 guy, specifically the Carter 3. It came out in 2008, the summer of 2008, which is leading to my junior year of college. So That was like right before JR got his first apartment, which had like a beer pong table and a projector. And so you can imagine, you know, the aux cord was plugged into my iPod Classic 64 digs. It was all the tartar all the time. So yeah, this is great. Have you ever seen Lil Wayne perform live?
No. Have you?
This is a little like, this is not meant to make me sound like a douchebag, but the Super Bowl was in San Francisco 4 years ago, Super Bowl 50. And my brother-in-law is a friend of a guy who does the Playboy Super Bowl party. And so my brother-in-law, he's like a big guy. He's like 6'2", on the heavier side. He always works the VIP security for that Super Bowl party in whatever city the Super Bowl is in. And because he knows the guy, like, he either gets flown out or he goes and basically just like hobnobs with celebrities the whole time. So he was at the party and he texted myself and my wife. We were at dinner and he said, if you guys come right now, I can get you a VIP wristband and get you into the Super Bowl party. So of course we dropped everything we were doing and we did that. And we were in the VIP section of like the private Playboy. It might have been Maxim, actually. Maxim Super Bowl party on Treasure Island, which is an island off of the Bay Bridge. And Lil Wayne came out and performed like his top 10 best songs. And it was very fucking cool. Justin Bieber was on stage dancing with him. And like Odell Beckham was standing next to us. And on our way out, we were like talking. It was just one of these things. Like one of these like sceney, like places that you never expect to be. Like it was all private. So like no one was around like taking photos or like getting selfies. There was no like public entrance type thing. People probably thought my wife and I were somebody and we were fucking nobodies. And that was what made it like so cool to me.
That is great. I wish that would happen to me.
I don't know if that story is going to make me sound like a douchebag. It doesn't. I'm not meaning for it to. Whatever.
Okay. Oh, this is your turn.
Next question from Logan at Logan Lewis 96. Which Batman is the best Batman? Now, I was a little confused at first because I thought this meant like which Batman film. Until I thought further and I was like, oh, he probably means like which actor is the best actor to play Batman. So,
right.
I'm interested in your answer because I'm assuming you haven't seen the Michael Keaton, Tim Burton Batman, or even the Val Kilmer Batman. Like, so it kind of narrows it down for you.
Yeah. I mean, I've only seen the Christian Bale ones. And so I guess my answer is Christian Bale. And I'll even throw in Robert Pattinson from that trailer. So that's my answer, short and sweet.
I think Robert Pattinson probably vaulted over Val Kilmer, at least in the 1995 Batman. Director Joel Schumacher called Kilmer an absolute child on set and impossible to work with. And it's probably why that movie didn't do very well. I weirdly liked the 1989 Tim Burton Batman film because I love Tim Burton movies. And I especially love Michael Keaton, who plays Batman. He's reviving the role or reprising the role in a cameo, like for a cameo in the upcoming Justice League movie. That was announced at the DC event last weekend that we talked about. So I just like Ride or Die for Michael Keaton. I think he's very funny. I think he's a very talented actor. The Christian Bale movies are obviously the best. I don't think anyone's denying that The Dark Knight is probably the best Batman movie.
Yeah.
I can't get past that Christian Bale voice thing that he does, that husky Batman voice that's super hammy and kind of like makes you cringe when you hear it. It sounds like a little kid trying to be a tough guy or something.
Yeah, I hate that. I just like don't like the inflections on the things he says as Batman. I don't know.
Next question.
Okay. This is from friend of the program, Kyle Banduho.
Love you, Crash.
Bring back Dadgum. Okay, you're stuck on I almost said, never mind. Okay. Restart. You're stuck on a desert island and can bring 3 movies. What are you taking?
Why don't we go back and forth on this?
Okay, you can start.
Okay. The 2000 movie Castaway with Tom Hanks. Might provide some good pointers for being stuck on a desert island. Plus, it's a long movie. It's kind of a quiet, relaxing movie. Won't make me too stressed out. on the desert island. So yeah, I'll start with that.
Okay, mine is Call Me by Your Name. I don't know. I just really like the movie. I wanted to pick 3 very different movies.
Sure.
And I wanted something like a little deeper than my other 2.
Sure.
I don't know. I like the vibes. It's in Italy, and I obviously like Timothée Chalamet and Armie Hammer. So there you go.
Who doesn't? Okay.
I know.
I didn't take this as seriously as you did, probably because Kyle asked it. So I'd like to say that the next one would be like my wedding video. Like, oh, I'm going to miss my wife. I'm going to miss my friends and family. But I don't actually have a wedding video. Nobody makes wedding videos in like 2020. So I'd like to say this as delicately as possible, and then we're just going to move on, Tate. We're not going to acknowledge it. I'd like to say there will be an untitled adult film that I will bring with me. And that's all I'm going to say. We're going to move on past it, and I'd like to hear your next one.
Okay. Well, mine was Miss Congeniality. Yeah, I just love that movie. It's just,
every single guy listening is agreeing with me, by the way. But yes, Miss Congeniality, great Sandra Bullock performance.
See, that's like something I literally would have never thought of. But I get it. I totally get it. Miss Congeniality, love that movie. It's great. Comedy. People don't really talk about it enough. Classic. Back to you.
So, and this is me like capitalized on a loophole here. So he said a movie. So a Ken Burns documentary could be considered a movie. A lot of these Ken Burns documentaries clocked at like 10 to 15 hours long. So I'll probably pick one of the longest ones, like America or The War or National Parks or baseball. I don't know if you've seen a Ken Burns documentary, Kate, but they're just stunning visuals, really soothing narration, and all this really cool archival footage. It would be essentially just as much content as possible for me to like watch in like little chunks over the course of however long I'm stuck on that. So that's just me like trying to game the question a little bit here, because any 3 movies you take to this island, you're just gonna fucking hate at the end of it.
See, you like thought about this logistically. I just thought about like 3 movies that I'm not going to get sick of right away that are all different. And my last one was The Avengers Endgame. So it's just a movie I like, and it makes me feel good.
But see, you will end up hating Avengers Endgame. You're basically signing up to like ruin your 3 favorite movies, which is why I didn't want to do that.
Well, they're not my 3 favorite movies. They're just movies I would watch. I don't really know what my favorite movie is, to be honest.
It's a hard question.
Yeah. I don't know.
These are okay. This is a fun one.
This is my favorite question.
Of course it is. What reality show does JR think KatPat would be best on, and vice versa? What reality show does KatPat think JR would be best on? Who should go first?
I'll go first. I have 2.
All right, I want to hear it.
One's a game show, one's a reality show. For reality show, I'm just going to say The Real World. I just think I would like to see you in a situation where you're with how many other strangers is it? I don't know. Whatever they say. It would just be like a good social experiment. I feel like you have a good personality where it would be fun.
Thank you.
But then the one I think you would excel at is Jeopardy.
Jeopardy. Interesting. I'm pretty good at trivia.
Yeah, so I was going to say the reason why I picked this is because I feel like you know a ton of random facts.
Yeah.
At least like in the film category. Like I wish there was something that's like Jeopardy meets, I don't know, like one of those shows, not like, I don't know, something like where you could make a little commercial I don't know. I'm just fucking rambling. You could make a commercial, but I don't know. You know,
I don't understand what you mean by commercial.
Like, I wish there was a competition, like on the Food Network, there's like Cupcake Wars. I wish there was commercial wars, and you could make.
Oh, you mean because of my day job?
Well, that, but I feel like you just know a bunch of like random film shit.
Gotcha. Cool. No, that's nice. My uncle was in the contestant pool for Jeopardy for 2 years. So how Jeopardy works is you go to like a live competition in your city. So he went in Chicago. It was on Navy Pier. And if you win or you finish in a top certain percentage of that group, your name gets put into basically a pile of names that lets you be eligible to be a Jeopardy contestant for a calendar year. And the name pile is like 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 names. And he basically is just waiting for them to pick his name out of it. And his name never got picked in those 2 years. But so I think trivia knowledge maybe runs in my family. But I appreciate it. That's a really nice compliment to me.
You're welcome. Do you have Regal Cinemas by you, or is it just AMC?
Yes, we do.
What do you know how they do like the Regal Cinema like short film contest? It's like film students.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm picturing in my head for this makeshift show.
Gotcha. You were saying like you could make a commercial, and I was like, well, I already do make commercials, and I was so confused.
I meant a short film. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. Okay, your turn. Yeah.
Okay, now I know you want me to say, oh, The Bachelor or The Bachelorette or Big Brother, right? Like, that's your fucking wheelhouse. That's your dream come true. If you got that phone call today, you would drop everything and go running for the hills, wouldn't you?
Essentially, I was really hoping you were going to say Big Brother.
I'm not going to make it that easy for you. Come on. I want to see KatPat either behind the counter haggling over the price of a broken pinball machine on like Pawn Stars, like running a pawn shop, or eating a pile of bugs on Fear Factor, which would be incredible content for the internet to see. Or this is like the show just got canceled. It doesn't hold like great like ratings in people's mind, but driving a patrol car at night while wearing a body cam on cops, KatPat at the top, like negotiating with someone would be, in my mind, just world-class entertainment. But I don't know. Of those three, which would you prefer? Pawn Stars, Fear Factor? Which one?
No, I was saying that's horrible. Like, me as a cop, no one wants that. I'm the biggest pushover ever. I don't like confrontation.
That's why it's funny to me.
Definitely Fear Factor, absolute last thing I would want to do. I fucking hate heights. Do you remember the show Scare Tactics?
Yeah, I do.
That was like my biggest fear, is that someone was going to scare the fuck out of me and they were going to be like, surprise, you're on Scare Tactics. Like, I don't know. I had a really bad irrational fear. I was going to get suckered into being on that. But I guess Pawn Stars would be the easiest.
Yeah.
Like, I can haggle.
Yeah.
I feel like I have street smarts.
Yeah. The guy would come in and be like, I want $3,000 for this. And you go, best I can do is $800. And then you just like start there and you go back and forth. You got the safety of the counter. There's cameras everywhere. Like, you're good. You're not putting yourself in harm's way. You're just, haggling.
Yeah. And I have the sales background, so we can do that. Okay. This question is from John Steben. Post-COVID, stand, mute, cancel movie theaters, concerts, and comedy clubs. I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Okay. I think stand concerts. We talked a lot about music in our all music episode. There's nothing like the live music experience. We both experienced some really great ones. That's probably what I'm missing the most throughout all this. Besides also just seeing my friends and family regularly. The live music experience. So concerts all the way. Now it's funny because I spent 8 years of my life in comedy clubs. And I would love to cancel them because to me, they represent a lot of things that I don't want to do anymore. But I think they hold a good place in society. It's a good art form, and there's a need for them. So I will mute comedy clubs. And by mute, we just mean like, what? It's just on the back burner. How would you describe stand, mute, cancel?
It's like something that you're not super in on, but you don't want to totally give it the X. So
I spent many a long night waiting for my set at a comedy club, and they're kind of sad places, and everyone's drunk, they're low lighting, a lot of cigarettes, it's just, I don't know. And I'm not meant to sound like this like jaded and bitter comedian who's like an asshole. I'll pass on that. And sadly, I want to cancel movie theaters. We just talked about how I love the movie theater experience, but honestly, like if I could start getting like theatrical releases to my fucking smart TV and I can sit on my couch and eat my food and drink my drinks and not have to get up and leave, I think that might be the way to go. So I'm going to cancel movie theaters. Sadly, even though I love the experience.
So we do, in fact, have the same exact list.
I figured we would.
Yeah, but I actually went back and forth and almost canceled comedy clubs. I didn't want to offend you. No, no, but I knew you wouldn't actually be offended. But see, that's the thing. I love going to the movies. I just don't do it enough. But post-corona, I like don't want to sit in a movie theater chair. They are very disgusting.
That's true. Yeah. The floor. I can just hear them sticking right now. Yeah.
Ew. Ugh. I don't know. I do like going to comedy shows. I don't go to them that often, but like my brother's best friend is a stand-up comedian, so I've gone to a ton of his shows. I've seen a ton of very, very amateur comedians, and it's like extremely painful to watch.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like, oh, cancel them, but I don't know because there's some gems, obviously.
Well, and if you see a professional comedian who's got a massive following and, tours the country all year, you see them in a comedy club. That's a really fun environment because it's packed. You see them on a weekend. The energy level's high. You get to see some up-and-coming comedians, the best of the breed from that particular city, like open and middle for them. But if you go on an open mic night or you go on some Sunday night showcase or some local talent competition, which I have done probably 100 of, it is a tough hang, folks. It is not a great way. They go way too long. People run the light. They just think, I don't know. I love comedians. I have no actual issue with them. There's something hard about seeing people struggle at what you're also struggling at that makes it hard to do. It'd be like watching or us listening to a not very good podcast. You'd be like, man, this is hard. It's especially hard because this is something we're trying to get better at, essentially.
Yeah, it's just painful. And I fucking hate hecklers with a burning passion. I mean, like, I hate when people in the audience, like, try to be funnier than the comedian. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, you get up here. You do it.
Yeah. No, that's...
Yeah.
That highlights a personality defect, that someone is paying money or for whatever reason is in a room to enjoy someone else entertaining them and is so not okay with it, not okay with the attention being on somebody else that they have to make themselves a part of it. That is such a personality flaw and highlights it so much. And the second they open their mouth, they are losing because they all of a sudden have a room full of people being like, who the fuck is this guy? And a professional comedian with a microphone and 20 speakers that their voice is plugged into, like to yell over them, essentially. It's, hecklers are the worst.
Like, don't you know you're going to get absolutely ripped to shreds? I don't know.
Yeah.
Have some pride, people.
Yeah. Go leave the comedians alone. This desk is dusty. Sorry. Okay, couple questions left. We're almost at an hour. What's this next one?
From Gordon.
Or is it me? Sorry.
It's you.
Sorry. From Gordon. At Gordon Shorten. Every time my dad calls me, he asks for movie recommendations. However, he never watches them. What do I do? This really kind of like stumped me. I was like, don't give him any movie recommendations anymore? Say to him, well, you never watch the ones I tell you to watch anyways, so what's the point? That's like the shitty passive-aggressive son answer, but...
That's what I would say. I mean, that's what I, like, in my answers, I just briefly jotted down. I was like, nothing. You do nothing. Yeah. You don't give him any more movie recommendations. But the salesperson in me really wants to close this deal. So what you have to do is ask open-ended questions. You want to be like, well, what type of movie are you in the mood to watch? What are you not in the mood to watch? Ask those open-ended questions and uncover their needs. Provide value.
Wow.
I know I'm being such a jackass, but no, but seriously, ask open-ended questions, like try and narrow it down as much as possible. I always say, like, what are you in the mood for? What are you not in the mood for? And then narrow it down from there.
Or like, what have you seen recently that you liked? And I can recommend something like that, You can also maybe recommend a TV show so your father doesn't ask you every week about new movies, that your dad can start, chewing on a nice 3 to 5 season show that'll, keep him occupied for a month or so. When Greg asks you for movie recommendations. What do you say? Shout out Greg and Susan Patton, by the way. Thanks for listening.
Greg gives me movie recommendations.
That's awesome.
Like he just gave me one the other day for it's a Netflix movie. What was it? I really want to remember because he said it was really good. Hold on. All Together Now. All Together Now. Yeah. I'm
gonna Google it. I've heard of it, but like this isn't gonna make me cry.
He said he really liked it, but I don't know. See, my parents are very into like, I feel like they like kind of like dark comedy and like dry humor. So they know what I like. I don't know. I don't really give them recommendations because they have that all figured out.
Your parents seem, for lack of a better way to describe it, like pretty with it. They have Twitter accounts. They engage with content. They like, and my mom doesn't even know. My mom gets an email with my tweets from Twitter, which is horrible. And she'll like text me a response and I'll be like, what is this to? And she's like, well, you said this on Twitter. And I'm like, that was a week ago. Like, what? And then a week ago on Twitter is like a lifetime ago. And
you know who gets that email with my tweets?
Susan.
My grandfather.
What?
How
old is he?
85. God bless. No, he's like, I'm not gonna shit talk my grandpa. he has Twitter, but I don't think he realizes that he has a Twitter account.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know he gets copies of my tweets. And like one time I tweeted about him, it was like a funny story, and he forwarded the email to my mom and was like, "What is this?" So, he doesn't know what he's doing really. But the fact that he gets those emails alone is alarming.
Yeah. That's an interesting world to expose him to. An 85-year-old man, I can't imagine.
Oh my God. He texted me the other day. I don't know if you're familiar at all with like the the Claudia Conway, Kellyanne Conway drama.
No, I'm not, but fill me in.
It's Kellyanne Conway's daughter, Claudia. Mm-hmm. She's 15. She's like famous on TikTok and she fucking hates her mom.
I have seen this now, yeah.
Yes. So she doesn't agree with any of her mom's politics. And my grandpa texted me and was like, are you on TikTok? What's going on with Claudia breaking up with Kellyanne about Trump? And I was just like, the fact that my grandpa is even like texting me this right now is insane. This was not on my 2020 bingo board.
Yeah. My in-laws who are in their mid-70s asked us recently about TikTok, and we said, you guys really got to stop reading and watching the things you read and watch.
Yeah.
Let's move on to this last question because we're at almost an hour here, and
oh wow,
this is a nice one. This is I think this will like pull the curtain back a little bit on how we started this podcast. This is from Tim Mann Jr. I think Tim Mann Jr. has been with me for a while. I think he followed my previous podcast, but his question was simply, how did you two get paired up together? P.S. Love the show. Thank you, Tim. Thank you for listening. Thank you for submitting your question. How do you want to do this? Do you want to tell your version, then I tell my version?
Sure. Well, to pull back the curtain, one fine day, I got a text from DC Ruff, and he was like, do you know J.R. Hickey? I'm like, yeah, well, I know him on Twitter. Like, I follow him. We follow each other. He's like, oh, he has a pod idea. Your name came to mind. And that's kind of how it started.
Yeah.
You can fill in the gaps.
Sure. So my story starts a little earlier than that. I was previously at Bro Bible for a year working on my other podcast, which, as a lot of people know, was about the TV show Entourage. And as my contract was coming to an end, I was in the process of starting a podcast with Bro Bible called So Many Screens. And this was in April. And as everyone knows, April, things took a turn for the worst. And we basically had to not like amicably part ways. They essentially were tightening their belts and like couldn't spend money on a bunch of new podcasts, which was totally understandable. Everyone was affected by what's been going on. So I had this fully fleshed out podcast idea, this IP, as you would, with no home. And as some people know, I used to be a writer for Postgrad Problems. I've stayed in close contact with Dave, Will, and Dylan, and started talking to Dave. I said, I have this great idea for a podcast. I think a pop culture arm of Wash Media would make a lot of sense. And he said to me, how would you feel about having a co-host? And I said, I love that idea, because my previous podcast, I hosted by myself. I had a guest every week, but I had to do all the social media, all the marketing, all the editing, all the producing, all the recording, which is a lot, as you can imagine, on top of getting married and having a full-time job. So very quickly, your name came up. Your name was the first that came up. And I remember specifically saying to Dave, I like KatPat's content. Like, I like it. And I like the idea. So let's just see how this would work. So we FaceTimed a couple times, and then we recorded almost 2 months worth of like pilot episodes. Like every week we would hop on and talk about a show. We watched all of Normal People. We watched a bunch of shows that like people haven't even heard us talk about, just to kind of establish a rhythm and get to know each other, because we've never met. We've never been in the same room together. And we didn't want it to be Wash just put these two people together and here's the result. We really wanted to like set a foundation here. And here we are, right? That was April, and this is almost September. So,
that's crazy.
4 or 5 months. We have our own podcast, and we appreciate everybody for listening, and appreciate everyone for sending in their questions today.
Yeah. And I remember too, obviously I followed you on Twitter, like since the PGP days. And when Dave mentioned your name, the one tweet that came to mind was that thread about a Corona getting its Lime.
Thank you.
That was like my favorite thread. I thought that was so funny. You should bring that back. Just give it a retweet.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Full transparency. When I first heard your name, I said to myself, isn't that the girl that would always call into Dadgum, even though she doesn't have a daughter or doesn't have a kid? I mean, and I think I even texted Pete and Kyle, who I'm very close friends with, and said, hey, so my new podcast host is KatPat. And they both were like, she's the absolute best. Cannot wait to hear what you guys do. So love those guys.
Yeah. Like I said, bring back Dadgum. That was my favorite. Something about those stories killed me.
Pete and Kyle, when I went to Austin for my bachelor party 2 years ago, they had me on in studio, and they tried to convince me to have a kid, and I had to convince them why I don't want to have a kid. And at the end of the episode, they were like, "You made a lot of sense. We're going to take your son on this one." Just good comedy from those guys.
Oh God. That is funny.
KatPat, always a great hang. Love talking to you every Sunday. Follow the socials. What else?
Still keep subscribing, rating, reviewing 5 stars. Well, rating 5 stars. Leave a review. Tell a friend. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at So Many Screens, and follow myself at The Real KatPat.
I am at JR Will Do It on Instagram and Twitter. Have a great long weekend, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.